Hey guys, it's been a while. It's me, your commentator. Today, since it's been a while, I'm gonna give you a treat. I'm gonna give you a really spicy game that I wanna see happen. It's Voidhammer on Kess. It's Libertas on Urza. Mikey actually changed from his usual Inala that he probably got tired of slamming every table, and now he's playing Thrasios Akiri Evolution. And then we have Alex on Tevesh Kraum, Grixis value. It's gonna be a really interesting game. So, as usual, I'm gonna give you some analysis on what's going on the table and what I believe is gonna be happening. Some caveats. I am not really savvy on what's evolution aside from it just does spell seeker things. So I'm kind of probably discovering along the way what's probably Mikey doing. But since Mikey likes his intricate and complicated combos, we can assume it's gonna be a line of many different things going on while he goes through along. So we have actually a slow table. So buckle up. We might be here for a while. We might be here for some time. I have my own drink here, which I probably need to get more. Obviously, kind of an adult drink. It's not soda, by the way. So you can imagine what it might be. We have here two Grixis decks. So beware of Adnos. Then we have an Urza, which is typically assumed to be stacks, and yes, it is a stacks list. I was going over it, and there's a interesting tech and spice that between Libertas and some of the other Urza players they came up with, and I'm hyped to see it if it comes up. And Mikey, I believe he's playing a stock evolution list of Thrasios Akiri. We'll see what happens from this. I believe... Okay. As I said, we'll be here for a while. It's going to take a while for the game to resolve if every deck does what it's supposed to do. Unless like Alex or Voidhammer just slam an early Adnos, then every game is going to take a while. Right now we have the order of decks of who's going to be playing. So it's going to start with Voidhammer. And we got baited, we almost started, but then Libertas said, I don't like this 7, so I'm gonna shuffle up again and see what's up with that. So, Libertas is probably digging really hard for Trini Sphere or a very, very, very fast Urza to actually start gaining incremental advantage every single turn. Mike is probably planning on the same thing, probably one or two dorks. Being third really hinders his plans. It's really harsh as a dork player when you're going third, because the summoning sickness of dorks really hits you hard. It really affects you. Coming from experience, I played a few games of Thrasios Timna, and going third and last it's backbreaking. It's really hard to do that. Then we have Shocker, another Grixis deck, but this one can actually fight the good fight in a sense of it can actually grind. We were going with Alex on his list like 2 or 3 hours ago, making some changes to it to make it actual slower and more resilient, more answers to stuff. So I'm also hyped to see what Alex's deck does. We'll see as last if his impact is as much as it should be, considering everything. I guess it all depends on Dasher or Libertas, as you might name him. It all depends on him, kinda, to see if his stacks pieces land, actual resolve, and slow down the game for Alex to start hitting his value, like heavy hitting value cards. I'm skipping a bit on the Mikey again. I may not have enough knowledge about evolution because I haven't played enough with it. I know some ideas of how it works, but again, we will discover as we go how this deck works, how Mikey makes his decisions upon it. It's gonna be a really interesting game. It's gonna be really cool. Too bad that Libertas is not having that 7 that he likes. Well, now I believe he's going to 5, so that's even hindering his own plans even more. Is this the 7 he's gonna keep now? Okay, so he's going to 6. My bad. With all the explanation, I just no, he's going to 5. There you go. I was right. Maybe I should trust my instincts on this one. So everyone has a 7, and let's see what happens. Okay, Voidhammer starts the game by drawing. Place a mana confluence into a what? Into a Thrasios? Nope. Takes 1 and plays a ponder. Pondering about what would happen. So there's some banter among the players saying that, Kess pondered turn 1, he must have Dockside in his hand. And considering that Grixis, or at least red decks, except Godo, want to get Dockside fast, it wouldn't surprise me. So Libertas starts his turn, a really good turn actually, with Island into Sol Ring into Tormod's Crypt. So if everyone wants to play Grave Shenanigans, aka Kess, bye bye. Okay, so Mikey goes to his turn, plays a Mox Diamond, pitching a mana confluence into probably a Dork. That's an exotic core card. It's a fish! Turn 1 fish with a mana Mox Diamond backup. That's a really good turn 1. Really solid. Okay, Alex starts with a fancy Bloodstained Mire, cracks it, goes to 39, and getting, surprisingly enough, an Underground Sea. Into what? Rocks to feed the fish, or just say pass and go? You probably shouldn't pass. It's bad to feed the fish. Okay, yep, agreed. He needs to keep up with everyone, so he taps out for a mana vault. It is a necessary evil. Also helps him do a turn 1 Tevesh, which is huge. Okay, Voidhammer goes to his turn, lands a Blood Crypt, untapped, takes a shock to the face, and taking a ping to the face, he casts an Arcane Signet, feeding the fish even one more card. Libertas' turn is gonna be Urza, so there's no feeding the fish from his side. Even though you'll assume it. Yep, there we go, that's an Urza. With a construct being a 3/3. Oh wait, there's an answer. Is there an answer? Oh no, there's no answer. Urza resolves, and Libertas has his 3/3, and the all-powerful Urza, High Lord Artificer. Mikey pays 1 for the fish, and playing a City of Brass, taking 1 to the face, plays Thrasios and the Mox Amber to still remaining with that interaction that pretty sure he has. Oh, Alex also his turn and plays a turn 2 Kraum instead of turn 2 Tevesh. Makes sense because he's facing a 3/3 and a Thrasios, so having Tevesh there is kind of like eh. So Alex declines to attack because he doesn't want to get slapped by Thrasios and Urza with his construct. In his end step, Voidhammer decides to Vamp Tutor, but Mikey just mental missteps it, paying it with life. He's not playing black, so his life is not really that relevant, considering everything. Voidhammer goes to his turn and taps, and what will it be? Is it Kess time? Is it tapping out time for Kess? I will not be against it, considering that everyone's tapped out. It's not a really bad position to play Kess. Everyone is on their setup turns. Probably Libertas will drop a... what? A rock, a stat piece? Oh, he just decides to play a talisman and say go. Keeping it conservative. Not a bad idea. Oh, also he missed a land drop. Oh, that's why. Okay. In his end step, Libertas decides to Mystical Tutor. Remember that he had 2 blue open because of the construct and the thermal script. That he does not need to, I believe he does not need to tap to activate the ability, so he can add mana. Oh, he needs to tap it. Never mind. So he has to choose at some point. There is no really decision now because nobody has graveyards, so whatever. But keep in mind that might come up. That he might need to choose between adding a blue mana or exiling someone's graveyard. For interaction, I mean, adding the blue mana. Okay, Libertas is thinking about what's he gonna get with his Mystical Tutor. Oh, sorry. This might have gone a bit low volume. Now I moved the mic. I'm sorry about that. If the volume was a bit low, now it should be better. So he gets a recurring insight. Interesting. So he's valuing refilling his hand after blowing up everything. Basically, he's telegraphing that he's gonna be casting most of his hand and keeping recurring insight as probably one of the last 2 or 3 cards to rebuild everything. Here we go. So he untaps and paying. Oh! He just slams recurring insight into everything. Interesting. I do not know how many cards he had in hand, but considering he mulliganed to 5, this makes a lot of sense to me. Ooh, but in response to a fierce guardianship, all his plans, all his setup were for absolutely not. Wow. And then, after getting all his plans slashed, then he passes the turn. Mikey pays for the fish, at the start of his turn, and draws. Oh, that's a Git probe. Who's gonna be the target for this? You can either target. I will probably go target Voidhammer since he's setting up. But he decides to target Alex, and it's an insane hand with Green Monolith, Brainstorm, Breach, Adnos. Basically, everything's there that he needs to. I'm surprised he actually played Kraum, knowing that he has a Nos in his hand. Huh, that's actually interesting. That's interesting. People didn't have the second black for a Nos, but we'll see. Maybe he made a decision to just play more conservatively. Oh, so Libertas actually screwed up that he had Dispel to counter the first guardianship from Mikey. But hey, it happens to the best of us, man. Sometimes we slip up. We have the idea, we go hype over it, and we just forget about it. It just happens, man. It's part of the magic, being a magic player, you know? Part of the game. Well, now everyone's know that he has a Dispel, so that Nos, it ain't gonna resolve anytime soon. And Mikey continues with his stacks pieces, slamming a Ristic Study. That means players need to cast, every time they cast a spell, they need to pay 5 if it's a non-creature or Mikey draws 2 cards. Why is it so stupid? Hey, then passes the turn with no mana open. Interesting. Well, what does he care considering he has so much value in those enchantments? Alex in his turn just declines to pay 4 because he simply cannot, and slamming a Marsh Flats, immediately cracking it for a Badlands. That signals that he has more lands in hand. At least to me that will signal it. And plays a Green Monolith, paying 1 for the fish. Paying 1 for the study, but not for the fish because it's impossible to. So the pressure is still in Libertas to still slamming stacks pieces. At this point, he needs to top deck something good. Libertas is too behind to actually do much on this table, unless he gets insanely lucky with Urza flip. Just like a minimize desire. Okay, so Voidhammer goes to his turn. And let's see what happens. Because here, Voidhammer already lost a land drop, missed a land drop. So he's desperate for mana in a sense. He might be considering, actually this is insane, he might be considering playing Kess. No, it's a ponder, never mind, my bad. Okay, so he's pressured. Voidhammer is pressured being the first player on the pod and missing so much mana. So he casts an Opal, giving Mikey 2 cards, ouch. So that was probably the card he drew for the turn. There was no way he will not be playing it before, considering he has Metalcraft. I will probably slam Kess here into Vamp or Ponder. Oh, but, hello, hold up. We have a Wheel of Fortune here. We have a Wheel of Fortune, and Libertas, this spell does not stop that. This is interesting. This might be Voidhammer's chance to actually return to the game. Also, Libertas will never respond to this. There's no chance. He needs this wheel to resolve. He just yeah. So Voidhammer discards wheel, Yawmo's wheel. Wow. So Mikey discarded a stacked hand with basically everything he needed to win. There's tutors, counters, dockside, everything you might ask, that was in his hand, and now he has a random grip of 7. Tough luck, man. But hey, at least you have a Ristic Study and a fish to come back with. Voidhammer in his turn drops Ancient Tomb. Finally, he's keeping up with the land drops. Big for him. And taking 3 to the face. Oh, he cast his own Ristic, feeding Mikey 2 cards. Oof, that's bad. That's rough. Hey guys, at least don't look at it that bad. Libertas and Voidhammer, at least you're back in the game considering everything. Hey, so Libertas untaps everything. Plays City of Traitors. That's actually an interesting card, but I guess they need all the ramp you can get in Urza, and that's like a free ramp. They're running what was the name of the card? Oh, hang on a second. I have the list here. They are playing Suppressant Scary, which according to Libertas, it's a source of discussion and argument in the Urza server about it. People like it and people don't like it. Okay, just in case, this is Suppressant. So, wait, is it like this? No, it's, yeah. Oh, it's like this. Suppressant Scary. This land. They're playing this land, which is, according to them, it's a necessary evil because of what it does. But coming back to the game, Libertas slams a Static Orb, which is insanely necessary for this game to actually do something. Static Orb at this point is insanely huge for this game. Mikey is tapped out, Voidhammer is tapped out, Alex is tapped out, and Libertas has an Urza in play. This means that on Voidhammer's turn, Libertas will just tap Static Orb due to Urza, adding blue mana, and he will be the only one to be playing the game, and others will not. So the plan for all these players at this point is to say, Urza, you need to go bye-bye. Well, so Mikey has another stack hand with Gildrake, counters, Jeska's Wheel, Hull Breacher. His hand is still stacked, obviously thanks to the Study and the Fish. So there's not that much threat because Static Orb is keeping all of these people down. Mikey can still slam Hull Breacher considering he has a Elvish Spirit Guide in hand. So that wouldn't surprise me that he will say in response to something, just slam Hull Breacher. So Libertas plays Jewel Amulet with Urza is really good. Then tapping it and mana, he plays Impulse main phase, looking for probably more stacked pieces, probably a Trinisphere or Winter Orb or something. I don't remember how Static Orb works with Winter Orb. If it is as I think it is, then you can only untap one land and one other permanent. If it works as I think it does, let me actually make a quick search. Static Orb plus Winter Orb. Thank you, Google, for existing. Interaction, just in case. So, yep, it is as I think it is. They both work in tandem. And if he has Winter Orb and Static Orb, then players can only untap one land and one other permanent. Spicy. Voidhammer doesn't really care because his rocks kind of like work like lands, so he's not really into the world. Mikey and both Alex are kind of like in a really bad spot if he plays a Winter Orb, which I'm sure he's looking for. So what does he get from Impulse? He will also get Trinisphere, which that also shuts down the game in a sense, because people can only untap 2 permanents and Trinisphere makes everything cost 3, so he gets like in a sense a Time Walk, and even then one of the best stacks pieces. Okay, he decides on 1, and the other 3 go to the bottom in a random order. Will he continue his turn or just play more conservatively and say go with 5 mana open? Thanks to Urza tapping his artifacts. Oh, he goes to combat with a 5/5 construct. Not surprised. He could probably get a free shot at Voidhammer, but considering everything... Oh, he just slams at Voidhammer because he doesn't have blockers. I probably would have slammed at Alex, making him at least consider blocking with Kraum. Let's be real, he will never do that because Kraum is an insanely good value piece to keep up with the game. Okay, then passes turn. Mikey goes to his turn. Fish instantly dies because there's no way he can pay for it. Pay the 3 he needs with untapping 2 permanents and draws his card. Now, what's gonna be the steps for him? Obviously, plays a land, plays a blue delta, cracks it for a Tundra. So he currently has 4 mana thanks to the Elvish Spirit Guide he has in his hand. So one of the things he could do is just say go and keeping interaction and Hull Breacher in his hand. But there we go, he exiles Spirit Guide for a green, and with Thundera casts a Gilded Drake. very high chance he's gonna be taking Urza here. At least that seems to be the target. This, if he takes Urza here, that will mean Libertas has no interaction with the... he'll have no mana aside from the 2 islands he has. So choices are Kraum for more value or Urza for more mana. At this point he needs more mana more than everything. So Libertas is calling that he might need to tap a static orb, letting everyone play. So it's an interesting play to do that. It doesn't really... Oh, but he just casts a Force Wall in response, pitching Narsa Reversal. Okay. But I believe Mikey had more answers. I believe he had a Elemental Blast. He had this spell. Okay, he has a Dispel. There's a Kraum trigger because second spell of a turn. And Voidhammer draws because of the heuristic. Is there more answers to Libertas, or is he gonna be that Gator Drake taking his Urza and shutting off his dreams and hopes of staying in the game? Unless no. He can tap the static orb in response, and he can take Urza back by bribing a Gilded Drake from Alex or Voidhammer. That will be insane. That will be top-notch play. That will be like, wow. But is it gonna happen? What's it gonna be then, guys? Oh, he has... Ooh. Interesting. So Voidhammer has a fresh hand with a risk study of drawing 2 or 3 cards. And Libertas decides to tap the static orb instead of slowing down the game for everyone. He allows Voidhammer to actually have an insane turn. Maybe. We don't know what he drew. Alex, I don't think is gonna be that much threat, because they will his Adnos and everything else. So unless he has Underworld Breach, which will allow him to replay everything, I don't think Alex is that much of a threat, even though he has probably 7 mana at this point. We shall see. We are right now on the cleanup of Mikey's turn. He's deciding on what cards he to keep after drawing so many cards. So he discards Lord Grixis and the land, I believe. No, that's not a land. I don't know what's that card. Okay, so he discarded Lord Grixis and Neoform along more mana. Interesting discard Neoform. Okay, Alex to his turn, draws a card and slams an island. Tapping for a Soul Ring, a very beautiful Soul Ring. And then this allows both Voidhammer and Mikey to draw 1 card each. And then tap Szat for Tevesh. Is that the play? Okay, casting Tevesh allows both Mikey and Voidhammer to draw a card. That's actually interesting. I don't know if that was a play. I really don't know. I'm gonna make a question mark on that one. Because it's so much advantage for everyone else. But hey, let's see. Maybe he's right. So he plus 2 Tevesh and makes 2 0-1 trolls. They're basically blockers for the 5-5. And we'll see what happens from that. Kraum is still in the defensive, especially now that there's a Gita Drake in play. He needs a defense for Tevesh. Voidhammer goes to his turn and taps everything. So much mana and so many cards he has in hand. High chance he might win from here, considering Libertas has no force of will anymore. Mikey is basically on 1 mana and one of his free counters is gone. But he drew a lot of cards, so at this point I will probably say the game is between Mikey and Voidhammer because of all the mana they drew and the cards. They go hand in hand. I know I'm not saying something new, but still. Let's see what Voidhammer does now, because he can do some crazy things, like win the game. I guess Mikey's statistical study is really hindering his plans, especially since he's playing Grinding Station. Grinding Station tells me that he's kind of like all in Turbo Nos or Reach Lines. So let's see what happens. So Voidhammer thinking about his turn. I don't really blame him. This turn is kinda weird. If he can get rid of the heuristic study, then he might be able to actually go off without with much less threat of Mikey answering to whatever he does. Even my Alex 2 mana open are kinda scary for him, or it should be scary. Okay, he takes a shock to the face to the Ancient Tomb. I'm paying 1. Goes to blue with the Sunken Ruins and transmute Muddle the Mixture. That's an ability, so he cannot do anything to it. I'm shocked. What is that card getting? Is it our favorite goblin in the whole game, or is it our favorite enchantment in the game? I wonder. What's it gonna be? Enchantment creature. There's a high chance. Let's be real. This is Dockside. This is Dockside. Like, let's not kid ourselves. He needs to reveal it though. He needs to say what it is. Because it's transmute. So what is it, Voidhammer? What is the card? At this point we assume it's Dockside, even though he didn't say it, he didn't show it. You're transmitting for a 2 CMC at this point of the game. Oh, that's a Tainted Pact. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Declines to pay 1 for the heuristic study, and Mikey draws a card. Okay. So he blows up his library to a 4th card. That means he has fish in hand. So any wheel that any player can play will just say goodbye. Well, except for Tank Twister, because that will shuffle his graveyard and that will allow him to draw 7. Oh, and he has a Dispel in hand also. That's a pretty good luck. That's interesting. Okay, so we have an Oracle on the stack. Interesting. So he doesn't play for the study. This is a really ballsy play. This is incredibly ballsy. Unless he can kill the Oracle and reanimate it next turn. And this is a setup turn, actually. This is a win because he has 3 cards in hand and there's a Ristic Tally, so his devotion is 3. They need to answer this. But it's a creature. There's a creature in play. Interesting. So here's the interesting thing is that he doesn't need to cast anything. Okay, so at this point in the game we're on Fish Trigger on the stack. So this is how Oracle should have been done from the start. If you bounce Oracle, you should not do anything. Alex is gonna bounce the Oracle, and this is how Oracle should work. There should be interaction for this, but this is something that I've been heated about. I would like every card to have interaction and a downside to it, and this should be the downside to it. But whatever, whatever. Oh, so there's still a fish trick on the stack, and Alex is responding by Cyclonic Rifting the fish. What are the answers? But if he bounces the fish, it's every single turn after this is gonna be a threat. Every single time Voidhammer and taps is gonna be fish, 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 and if they don't do anything, that's it. That's game over. Oh, because he cannot pay. Oh, that's so smart. Because of Ristic Study, all the interactions, they need to pay 1 extra or he draws cards. So the fish trigger on the stacks is actually insane, because Alex is gonna Sick Rift the fish, but that means he needs to pay 1 extra that he does not have to draw from the Ristic Study. And Mikey needs a free answer to this to actually do something. Wow! So Voidhammer wins this game by being insanely 500 IQ, using his Ristic Study to his advantage. That was an insane turn, and beautiful turn by Voidhammer. Really, super heads up. Kudos to you. Wow, that was really good. Really clean. Really.